在每一次危机中，既有危险，也有机会。那么，在2008年开始的这个美国经济危机中呢，也有很多的机会。在去年的投资当中，不少的投资者得到了非常高的回报，这既包括股票市场，也包括房地产市场。那到底该怎么样得到很好的回报呢？我们今天请到了一位房地产投资的专家 Lorraine Greenmont， 他是一家房地产公司的总裁。欢迎你 Lorraine. Welcome Lorraine to our show.
Thank you.
And so can you tell us briefly what is bulk REO?
Sure.
And how do people buy this?
Sure. So the banks have this inventory that's been sitting on their books for a while, and they need to dispose of it. And so some of it is good inventory and some of it is not so good. It's the bottom of the barrel inventory. And so what they do is they put a package together and they'll sell it at a ridiculously low price. It's anywhere from 50 to 70% off the market price is what we're able to buy the bulk REOs at.
And what about the returns? Can you tell us also
Sure.
when you began to do this business and what are the average returns?
Sure. So I've been in real estate for over 20 years, and we started the bulk REOs 18 months ago. And we've seen returns well over 100% in less than a year.
Over 100%. That's a lot of return.
Yes, it is. But if you figure that you're buying at $7,000 and you're selling it for $45,000, there's a lot of room in there.
So then what are the risks? I mean, you mentioned that there are probably a couple of houses you couldn't sell, but what are other risks?
So there's risks, one, that you're going to hold it and it will get vandalized while you're holding it. It may burn down, so of course you're going to have insurance on it. Somebody may move into it while you're holding it and become a squatter, and some states have squatter rights, which are like tenant rights, and so you'd have to move them out. Right. And then there's also issues as far as code violations, and so you have to be willing to pick up the phone and call code enforcement to find out if there's any issues, because maybe it's not boarded up or it needs to have the lawn cleaned up because everybody in the neighborhood decided to dump garbage there.
So can people find some, service team in the local area to do all this for
Absolutely,
them?
Absolutely. There's people out there that need jobs, that have lost jobs. You just go out on Craigslist or other sources and you can find people to help you very easily.
Then how long typically, average days for the buyer to sell this property?
Yeah, so the investor would purchase it and they would typically sell a property within 2 weeks, maybe up to 6 weeks if it's not a very good property, but typically they're resold within 2 weeks.
That quick?
Yes. They're people who live in the neighborhood, typically working class, individuals that don't have good credit, but they have a job, and they're looking for a way to have a piece of the American dream.
Oh, so it's also helping people to get a piece of American
pie. Absolutely. It's a way that people who wouldn't normally have the opportunity to own a home can actually own a home now.
Can you share a couple stories with us?
Sure. So we have one lady in the Atlanta area that nobody in her recollection had ever owned a property. And so she was able to buy one. And she got it all set up and she decided to rent it out, and she bought a second home from us, and she is one of our best sources for other people who want to buy homes in the area. So she wrote us this beautiful letter telling us how she finally was able to have the American dream, but not only that, her children now believe that they can own a home because she did.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
So where are the properties located?
Most of the properties are located in the Midwest to the southeast. Pretty much anything east of the Mississippi is where we're finding most of the properties.
Okay. Can the investor say, oh, I'm going to go to the bank to get these properties on my own? Is that possible?
No. So the banks are overwhelmed right now in this financial crisis, and there's no way that you can walk into a bank and say, I'd like to buy a bulk REO list. So the relationships have been set for several years for many of us who are in this business, and we can help sell packages to the investors. We can train them on how to be successful, and we can provide them some ground crew contacts so that they can get started quickly.
So Lorraine, can you tell us what kind of procedures if the investors are interested to purchase this kind of REOs?
Yeah, so what we do is we verify that they have enough money to make a purchase, and we recommend that at least $100,000 so that you get 10 to 15 properties in a package. And then we would help them determine whether they want to cherry pick a list or whether they want to buy blind, and there's some different advantages to that. And then we would help them put their team in place, and then they would purchase the properties and they would move forward with their business.
So if someone wants to, get engaged in this investment business, what should they do? Do
Well,
they need to get a license?
No, you don't need a license to get involved. Just simply contact us and we'll talk to you about the requirements. You know, the main thing is that you've got somebody that can answer the phone, because when the phone starts ringing, you need to make the sales right then and there. And you need to have money to invest, and you need, to know how to follow the contracts and fill those out. So, it's pretty easy for anybody who wants to be an investor in this business.
在5月22号湾区的房地产展览上，老瑞将会介绍他成功的投资经验。如果您感兴趣的话，请千万不要错过机会。